It was easy to see just how bad things could have gone in Mobile that day, as a peaceful protest morphed into a tense standoff with police on an interstate on-ramp. It was easy to see just how ugly things could have turned. It was always harder to see why that didn't happen. A year later, two people at the heart of the storm have shared their insight. They agree that there was a lot more to it than luck. They also agree that that day became a turning point for positive change. The day was May 31, 2020, and in Mobile 2 peaceful demonstrations were planned, related to the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor and other cases of lethal police treatment of people of color elsewhere in the country. One was a vigil entirely contained to Cathedral Square. The other was a rally in Mardi Gras Park that included a march through downtown. After the march, the rally crowd lingered. A large portion of it went on another procession, which eventually moved along Water Street and up the on-ramp to I-10. The Mobile Police Department established a line midway up the ramp, and a standoff ensued. At one point the police line donned gas masks and dropped tear gas in the space between them and the crowd, a tactic that moved the crowd back a few yards and allowed police to advance a few yards. But gas was never fired indiscriminately into the crowd. Someone broke the window out of a police vehicle. General mayhem did not erupt. A young woman named Tia Pugh recently was convicted on a federal charge stemming from that act, the only high-profile criminal prosecution to come out of the incident. Eventually the bulk of the crowd moved back to the park, and a short time later police were able to clear the ramp. Among those who've been highly visible at the eye of the storm, having the conversations that helped shape its outcome, Police Chief Lawrence Battiste, former Chief James Barber, who had become the city's executive director of public safety, and activist Sabrina Mass. Looking back, Battiste and Mass both say that whatever good luck was involved, the peaceful outcome also was the result of groundwork laid over the course of the previous years. I think the thing that probably sticks with me more than anything from a year ago is that even though we had some extremely contentious moments, in particular with the standoff that occurred on the on-ramp to Interstate 10, that we had citizens in the community that were willing to trust, said Battiste. We could create dialogue between law enforcement and the community and were able to put things back on track so we could begin that very serious dialogue of, how do we move forward as a community? Battiste has since become Executive Director of Public Safety, in a move that saw Barber become Chief of Staff to Mayor Sandy Stimpson. He said the commitment to police community dialogue began when Barber became chief in 2013.